Hello, good morning. How are you doing? So quickly, I just came over to school. This is my hostel, and I happened to bump into a lot of books. Okay, first of all, this video is a product of two decisions I've come to make. So I usually overthink my videos. Okay, it's not up to par. What do I do? What do I do? How do I do this? When do I edit? So I've made a decision to just do it. Right, so pardon me. So the instrumental playing now is what I'm not going to mix any music. I was just praying some while ago, so I'll just continue the flow since I was reminded to do the video from prayer. So now I remember yesterday I bumped into an exercise book that I used in second MB class. Second MB class is like the first professional exam you write in medical school, which consists of anatomy, BS, and physiology. And I saw where I imputed my scores that had been released. Subjects that had been released then was BIC, I think 2 physios and 1 anat. And my BIC, I had an 81 in my first test and an 81 in my third test. But then I know I skipped second test. Follow me. So during the whole main, after the viva, usually if you're expecting a distinction or after the normal viva for everyone, then they release a set of red numbers to serial numbers, exam numbers that they should come for another viva, that's distinction viva. So I know that after my main and with how my normal viva went, I just the next morning I prepared. I wore my white, I wore my black, and I sat down waiting for the list of exam numbers. I was that positive. And the list came out and I was not there. And my name was not there. And I realized how effective METAB can be. So, second semester, I had a 46. That was the first time writing METAB essay. So I had 81, 46, and 81. Then I don't know how the main went. I'm yet to collect my transcript. Probably will be around, I think it might be around 60 something, I'm sure, at least for BIC. Right? And I just remembered, I just saw the book and I laughed, I giggled. Was I ashamed when the numbers came out and my name was not there? No. Okay, that felt a little bit bad. I feel surprised, yeah. And I'm thinking back, I'm so proud that I was surprised. I'm really, really, really so proud of myself. How positive I was. So what are the lessons from this? One, don't play with your METAB in BIC. I know that it's not just second test that has the power to do that to the whole exam, but it was my knowledge or my understanding of metabolism. It was not at my fingertips. So do not joke with it. I jacked all my first semester materials, jacked all my third semester materials, but METAB needed a level of mastery which I was not able to attain. So do not joke with metabolism. That is one lesson from this. Then the other lesson from this, I'm going to just share this Bible verse that relates to distinction, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 24. It says, "Isn't it obvious that all runners on the racetrack keep on running to win, but only one receives the victor's prize?" Isn't it obvious that all runners on the racetrack keep on running to win, but only one receives the victor's prize? Yet, each one of you must run the race to be victorious. Now, it says, is it not obvious that there's a race and everybody runs with one thing in mind, which is to win that race? But they know that only one person can win the race. Only one person is bound to be the victor. But it says, yet, even with that knowledge, each one of you must run the race to be victorious. Run to be victorious. Now, it tells you that while, yes, they are running to be victorious, but running to be victorious is what actually makes you run. My God. So, the thought of running to be victorious is what actually makes you complete the process. You might not end up being that victor, but what you need to complete the process successfully is the running to be victorious, even if you don't end up victorious. Do you understand? So I was thinking the other day, like, what's up with this distinction stuff? It's 70, right? And we are smart kids. Everybody in medical school is a smart kid. And in secondary school, you are not fighting for 70. I don't know about you, but it was, how close could we get to 100? How, like, it was, aiming for 70 was not like such a high aim. At least some of my essay exams, I remember you could have, if I had 70 something, it was not really happy moment like that. It was not, it was a more beautiful figure. Do you get, figure eight. Do you get, but then all of a sudden, I feel like because there's now a name to it, it becomes something bigger, or like such a big deal, or something more, I don't know how to explain it. What am I trying to say in essence? You will never, I was telling you, you will never catch me in medical school trying to just pass. Even if I end up, never happened, but even if I end up failing, just know that I failed while trying to get a distinction. I failed while trying to be the best I could. Just how I'm saying. So in the race, your ability to finish the race is based on your, nobody in the Olympics, nobody actually runs the race just to run. But what makes them able to run is that they have a mind to be the victor, even if they don't end up being the victor. That's what makes them try to maximize the speed that they've trained for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's continue. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 24 down. It says, a true athlete will be disciplined in every respect, practicing constant self-control in order to win a laurel wreath that quickly withers. Now he quickly switches the message. Okay, we've established that he quickly switches that they are practicing constant self-control. They're so disciplined, but to win something that quickly withers. It quickly withers. He says, but we run our race. Who is our? When you hear this kind of thing, you first of all pause and ask, who is our? So this is Paul writing to the Corinthian church. He's writing to Christians. Right? He says, we run our race to win a victor's crown that will last forever. We run our race to win a victor's crown that will last forever. For that reason, I don't run just for exercise or box like one throwing aimless punches, but I train like a champion athlete. I subdue my body and get it under my control, so that after preaching the good news to others, I myself won't be disqualified. So, I think this is a case of trying to use Bible study so you can study. So I'm trying to draw reflections from the Bible study, but there's a main message to it. And another thing I like to say is, there's this, in one of my studies I saw this. Okay, yes, that was Ezekiel 36 verse 33. It says, on the day that I cleanse you from all your iniquities, the day I save you, I will also enable you to dwell in the cities, and the ruins shall be rebuilt. The day I cleanse you from your iniquities, I will also enable you to dwell in the cities. Now this was, just read Ezekiel 36. You would understand the context. It's a prophetic book. Yeah, Ezekiel was a prophet, but it was referring to salvation. It was the children of Israel God was speaking to. But if you draw something from there, it says, the day I cleanse you from your iniquities, which was referring to salvation, I will also enable you to live, to dwell in the cities. Now there is an enablement as Christians beyond your salvation. You have an enablement, or like what you need to dwell in the cities. Okay, having said that, I'll just end with a note. So I have a chief, someone I call it chief, my national correspondent in an association I belong to, which is the Christian Medical and Dental Association. So I'm an academic secretary, long story, but yeah, she's above me. And there's something she told us at the beginning of service year, or at the beginning of the year, that has stuck with me. and I think I should put it out there often. Says yes, we are striving for academic excellence. While we strive for academic excellence, every academic process is an experience. Every academic experience is a process. You can interchange them actually. What was she trying to say? And what am I trying to get from that? While there are some people that live in sin for a while and then get saved and then start doing things, let's say Paul. The truth is that while he was, I'll call that sin, that was like persecuting the church. The truth is that while he was still there, he was in darkness. He didn't see the light. And if he had seen the light, he literally saw the light at the end of the day, like literal light. But if he had seen the light way earlier, I'm very sure he would respond to it. And he wouldn't have those past. I'm trying to tell you that it depends on your exposure, but if you've heard me say these things, you can do better. You can do better. While we strive for academic excellence, some people might fail a course, rewrite it, but do that only when you didn't know better. I'm trying to tell you that you have what you need to dwell in the cities as a child of God. Oh, I'm addressing children of God. I'm addressing children of God because it's only God that has the superpower to make all things work out for good. God can literally, though that was not his intention, but let's say you failed, he can literally make it look like that failure was the best thing that happened to you. On retrospect, he has the power to make everything come together for good. He has the power to make everything come together for good when you look back at them. But only if you didn't know better. So what am I admonishing you now to do? I'm telling you because I plan to tag at least my junior colleagues. You remember from both from the internal government of the proficient, you have a maximum time, or like you have a scheduled time to master a course, which is like a ladder in your step to becoming a proficient doctor. Do not pack things up. You might still pass the exam, but do not pack things up. I mean, do not just survive that class. Know it, learn it, understand it. Don't give in to excuses. Yes, you're in Nigeria, blah blah blah. Those are excuses. They're not teaching well, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. Those are excuses. You're not comfortable, those are excuses. Are they valid? Yes. But hey, you don't want to throw a pity party for yourself inside a party where there are a lot of people. Work it out. Something I do, and I'm very sure I'll still do, is I run home during my professionals. Even if I don't want to. Yeah, pathology and pharmacology, that was like my first experience of discussion groups, which I know that I wouldn't have done well without midnight discussion on drugs and all. But what am I saying? You can't be in a bad condition and you just decide that okay, you give this as an explanation to your failure or mediocrity. No, it's your life you're talking about. It's your youth. It's your life. It's your time. So do away with excuses and maximize yourself. As a child of God, your head is not blocked. It's not a reality. If you sense strange occurrences, pray. ask for prayers. Ask for prayers. And on that note, I'll say one last thing. I realized that in my third BDS exam, I was very occupied, by service. I was very occupied. And in my mind, because something was happening at that time, but more, I was also burdened. And I had should I call it a weakness? I couldn't lock them up and face my book. But I never gave up on the fight. I'll tell myself, Mama, you have to read a book. There's a lot to think about, there's a lot to do, but you have to read a book. And I realized that most of the tests I could read only, I'll be around my books. But for some reason, I could zero into the book few hours to the exam. But mind you, in the start of the whole classes, I already pushed. So I could zero into revision, or even reversing things that I'm like, did I read this before? Few hours to the exam. I'm talking 3 a.m., 4 a.m. for a 9 a.m. exam that I still have to travel to ANETOCHUKWU. But what am I saying? Strange occurrences. So I'm like, what? Am I being attacked? And I started speaking to God. After the test, when I had written nonsense in quotes, although I still ended up getting a distinction, and God just gave me a distinction. After the test, I was just walking, and I told myself, why does it seem like I have more attacks than the unbelievers? Yeah, there's an explanation to that, obvious explanation. The devil doesn't fight his own. The devil doesn't die. So I was just walking. I was doing like it's Google format in my head. So I have a question, God. I have a question. What's happening? Why does it look like I'm the one complaining? I'm the one being attacked, and I'm complaining to my non-Christian friends. And when I say non-Christian, not that they're Muslims, but I mean the Christ-like life. Yes, I'm the one complaining, and it's kind of going well for them, but I'm facing a lot of battles. And I told him, well, yeah, I understand that we are children of God, so we have more battles. But I told him that it doesn't actually help evangelism, because why do I tell a person to live a life and come to a life that has a lot of battles? And I will just say a lot of things. Now to answer that, because I know there's a seed, there's a spot out there. There's no ease you're experiencing now that is worth eternal condemnation. No ease that you're experiencing now that's worth eternal. Eternal means time without end. At the point, I happened to meet someone that's a prayer secretary, my senior class, the prayer secretary. She just like in that walk as I was taking those things, and she prayed with me. Then as I continued the walk, the conversation continued, and a light came, and he said, yes, okay, you've noted that you have attacks, that's alright, but that's still not an excuse. Why? Because he that is in you is still greater. While the reality of Christians have attacks is true, it is cancelled out by the reality of an ability to overcome whatsoever it is that is not of God in your life. So you do not sit back or sit into the reality that attacks are of God, persecution. There's a part 2 to it. You have the ability. You have the ability. You have the ability to conquer them. So that's it. That's it. That'll be all for the video. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so sorry I could produce a better video, but I really do not have time to set up right now. Yeah, so